Hi, I'm Rob Shearer, and this is the Mighty Good Podcast, where we have conversations with inspirational folks who are making the world a better place. Today, we're sitting down with Cindy and Mando Puente, owners of Coco Andre and Olmo in Oak Cliff. They do an amazing job of creating inclusive spaces, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about how they do that. All right, Cindy and Mando, thanks for making time, for being on Mighty Good. Let's start with, why don't you guys tell me a little bit about Coco Andre and Olmo and maybe the journey of getting them established in Oak Cliff.
Okay, so Coco Andre started in 2009. My mom and I started with no money, as everybody knows the story, or a lot of people know the story. But we started in 2009 with no money it was during the recession. And I had just lost my job, and my mom had lost hers as well, because the company had been sold and it just went under. And then my company, I was a project manager for a construction company, and I had these huge projects in Nevada, and they just came to a halt. So that's when we decided, hey, we're going to open a business. So we decided to open Coco Andre, and we were looking in Irving originally. That's where we're from. And we didn't find anything that really resonated with us. But we looked here in Oak Cliff and immediately found a place on Davis Street, and we started at 831, and it was within our budget, which was $400 a month. And then we had it, I think it took us like 3 or 4 months to open it up. And we started in October. We got the keys in August, opened it up by October. We had it cleaned up because it was a really rundown building. But my mom had, a vision. She's like, as long as we can get it clean, with what we have, we'll just open it up. And if we can just make stuff here, with the minimum, and we can make sales for the holidays, then we'll be okay. And we did. We made a quick profit that year for Christmas time, and we were open, and that's how we started in Oak Cliff.
Can you talk a little bit about how you've seen your role in community building and creating spaces that create safety for folks in the neighborhood?
We had moved to Oak Cliff. At that time, I was still a single mother and I had my 9-year-old son, and, blindly, I thought I would have more time. I wanted to spend more time with him. But then I had to think of ways that I could include my son and include also my business and include the community around me. So, one of the things that happened, during that time, we had a lot of family that passed when we were, when we were 831. We had a lot of people that passed. So we decided I started learning more about Dia de los Muertos, and I knew my mom was already celebrating it in her way, but always in a very quiet and a personal experience for her. And then for me, I started reading more and learning more about it. And then I was like, oh, this is something that not a lot of people that are my age are celebrating as well. And it's all because of our parents, because they're immigrants, and they try to assimilate. And they try to, still keep their traditions, but they keep them to themselves. And then I was like, Mom, why are we not making a bigger deal? Why are we not doing more? And then I'm like, this is something that I want to celebrate with you. And then I was like, it was like an aha moment. I'm like, okay, I'm here in this neighborhood. It's new. I was like, there has to be more people that want to celebrate too. So it quickly turned into the first year at 831. It was a small little shop. It was maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, right? The space that we had. And then we just got jam packed with 20 people or more would have been a lot, but it was 20 people, and it was cold, and we had a projector, and we talked about the traditions. And then from there, it just grew from 20 people to 40, from 40 to 60. And it just kept growing every year. And it just showed me that as long as I stayed true to my culture and the things that I believed in and wanted to know about, so did the people around me in my neighborhood. So for me, that was the biggest focus, was just teaching people things that I wanted to learn about as well. So it's we're learning together.
I love that. As Oak Cliff has gentrified, there's been a lot of conversations about who's got disposable income and who can afford to buy certain things. I have noticed that you guys seem to cater to the entire neighborhood. You haven't made a decision about like who can afford your chocolates and who can't.
Even if you can't, like, we want you to feel welcome. Like, you know, Oak Cliff also does have, you know, an issue of like a lot of unhoused people. So like not too long ago, I think we see them more here in this neighborhood. Even when there was a person that came in and he couldn't afford something, I was like, don't give me a reason. Like, just tell me what you want, you know, and I got you. I'll take care of you. So that's just always been the mission, that because chocolate is something for me that comes historically from, it was drunk by, you know, like the Meso-Maya American culture. And then, so for me, it's something that was already given to the world. So I shouldn't, you know, like, yes, it has value, but to me, the value is sharing with somebody else, because it's something that comes from the earth. It's something that if somebody wants it, and it's not a need, or, you know, it's not a need, it's a want. But if somebody wants it and I have it, why can't I share it with somebody else? So for me, it's always been a point to make it accessible for everybody. If you can't afford, you know, if you can't afford it, I will find a way to, you know, to help you in some way.
What's a conversation that you guys think that Dallas isn't having that it really needs to have?
So I think for me, since people don't know this, but I used to be a rebel. And as a teen rebel that I was, for me, I grew up in Irving until I was 14. I felt like, because once I found Oak Cliff, I was able to drive, and I please do not recommend this to anybody, but I was 14 and I started driving, and all my friends came from West Dallas in Oak Cliff, because they were, you know, they were sent to Nimitz and like Bowie and all those schools over there. So that's how I met a lot of my friends. And that's how I found community, and I saw myself in them. And then as soon as I could drive, I started driving at 14 to Oak Cliff, because I just felt like I belonged here. I felt like I saw myself in the community. So for me, it's always been a big thing to become part of the community, not trying to change what I fell in love with. And, you know, and people have tried, and I see it happen over and over, but especially like in the Bishop Arts, I've noticed that when we first opened there, it was a very much a sense of like, we want to change it. We want to make it better. We want to clean it up. Like, these were the words, right? And now here we are 15 years later, and I see all these events now that are being catered by white spaces to Latinos. So it just showed me again, like, no matter how much you try to change a neighborhood, the neighborhood is still going to push forward, and it's still going to be there, and it's still going to exist. Whether you like it or not, you know, we're still going to be here. And like, now I see cumbia nights, which we never had cumbia nights, you know, before it was like jazz, and we're going to do this, and we're going to have, you know, just a different mindset for the neighborhood. And now it's completely reverting back. So like, restaurants that were supposed to be like American cuisine are now incorporating chilaquiles into their menu. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you see the benefit of our neighborhood and the people now, but now it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just, that's just where I'm at right now with it. I'm like kind of confused. Like, you didn't want us here at the beginning, and now you want us, and now you see the value in our dollars. So for me, it's always like, I don't know, like I feel a little heartbroken, but also very proud that our community is still like pushing forward and persevering through all these changes that have happened in our neighborhood.
What are you guys optimistic about in Dallas right now?
The youth, just to kind of drop a name, the Family and Friends. Quick story on them. They're a DJ set duo. And they started kind of pop. What I noticed them was around the pandemic, and they're posting up flyers that they're doing like outside park sets and stuff. I'm like, what do these kids know about music? You know, and that was my old man thought, right? It was like, what do they know about music? And I immediately had to like switch for them. I'm like, you know what? No, they're young kids. They're trying to do something. I used to be their age, wanting to do something. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to them and give them my support. And by support, and just tell them, hey, whatever we can do for you, whatever we can do to help y'all push your narrative, your story, your journey, we're here. And now they've really grown to do a lot of cool stuff in the community throughout Dallas. I mean, they're going to Chicago and doing stuff out there, and even in Canada, to that extent. So, and they even hosted an event here at Olmo. So it's just, and I keep telling them, you guys have next. We've been doing it. I feel we've been doing it for the past 15, 20 years, hosting events and doing all these other type of things, but we're tired. We get worn out. So I appreciate the youth doing something different, and I always tell them, guys have next. Even SEMA Arts, they're doing a lot of good stuff too. So I always tell them they have a really good, solid team on their side, and so I really think that's where
And I
it's
think
at.
that's the difference between like Coco and Olmo too. Like I want to bring that up. Like Coco was very like, I felt like she was trying to be the prissy girly shop. And then like Olmo is more like where you can come and hang out with your friend. And just, we have people here that hang out for like hours sometimes. And Coco is very like, hey, chat, like very proper. And then like people would leave. But with Olmo, we've met so many young people that are doing so many amazing things. And I think that's also what keeps us young and keeps us pushing forward, because we get ideas from them as well of like what to do in our business and how to keep us engaged with the youth. Because honestly, like the youth is the future.
Yeah. I mean, as cliche as it sounds,
Of
but
like, but it really is. Like if you're not learning from the younger folks in your neighborhood, then I mean, are you really tapped in? Because if you're not doing stuff to help them or benefit them as well, then you're not really doing anything for yourself, because I'll be gone here in a few years, right? And they still have a legacy to keep creating. So you have to stay tapped in with them. If not, then you're not working simultaneously together.
yeah, but I've always said Olmo is just an extension of Coco. I've always told people that, right? It's exactly what we've always wanted Coco to be, but it just didn't translate well over at the house, and being here in Olmo and then having Coco here temporarily, we're like, hey, it can kind of coexist, right? Like, and to see that younger generation that's coming in because we did go viral, they saw us on Instagram or whatever the case may be, they're learning, and I see them come back with their parents and show them, look, mom, look, they make chocolate, the master chocolatier, she's from Mexico, look at this. And so it's really nice to see that those two worlds that we thought couldn't coexist or exist in one really can't.
So I always feel like Coco is like the big sister that's
Mhm.
educating you and
Mhm.
teaching
Yeah.
you and like putting you on to new things. But then like Olmo is the little fun shop that, you
Yeah.
can hang out with, and you're just going to have a good time with them all the time.
What's next for Olmo and Coco Andre? I know that you're working on another space, right?
We are working on another space. And that's been also difficult because we are self-funded. So it's like you want things so if there's any investors out there, but I'll put that out there. It's called manifesting. But so we are, we're in year 15. After 15 years, after 14 years, we decided we were going to sell our house that we had bought in Bishop Arts, because it just became a very expensive showroom at that point. It was small. We weren't able to grow. It was a beautiful house, and it functioned for us for 10 years. But in order for us to grow, we had to sell it. And then we found a business, another building that was open and close by, and it was within our budget. So we used the sale of that money to buy that property. But of course, money goes fast. It's like water when you're building something. So it's coming along. Hopefully this year we'll get it open. But yeah, like now it feels like I'm starting all over again. Like now I'm having to find loans. I'm having to, have those conversations again. Do we want to get one? How are we going to self-fund it? And, just all these hard talks that small business owners don't want to talk about. So it's been a journey. So it's been hard. But I'm very excited for it too, because it's going to be a lot more space and we'll be able to do a lot more for the community. And also the goal is to have offices up top and like rent out to local businesses that might not have the opportunity to have a storefront right off the bat, or want to get their hands into maybe trying to have a small office or something like that. So we want to be that starting point again for other businesses.
Thanks for tuning into the Mighty Good podcast. We hope you found some inspiration in the conversations. Please like and subscribe wherever you find your podcast or videos. There'll be more coming soon.